So some people have kind of criticised Bobby Heenan on commentary for when Hogan comes down saying, whose side is he on? When you heard him say that line, did you think it fit the story, or did you?
I didn't know, because I was I couldn't hear anything. All I could hear was people screaming down below.
I mean, when you heard it later, what was your opinion of that line?
Later I heard it, like 2 or 3 days later I heard it, and I didn't care. Keep in mind, I believed, right or wrong, and I think mostly correctly, that you don't want to prep your announcers too much. Your play-by-play and color guys, color commentary team, should be reacting to what they see just like you would, or just like you would, or just like you would if you were sitting at ringside. They are the voice of the audience. Sometimes when your play-by-play announcer or your color commentator is aware of where stories are going and what's going to happen, they don't mean to do it. It's subconscious. Sometimes it's intentional, but more often than not, it's just subconscious. But they start telegraphing. And in order to maintain their credibility, they don't want to look stupid. They don't want to look too surprised. They want to look like they know what's going on. And again, I'm not being critical. It's human nature. And I've done that job, and I know that because I've done it myself. But as a result of my desire to get a real, authentic reaction from my play-by-play and color guys, I wouldn't tell. You get a format. You know what the matches are. Call the action. Don't telegraph it. Don't try to become Shakespeare. Don't try to get yourself over. Just sit there and tell me what you see if you're the play-by-play guy. And if you're the color commentator, tell me why what we see happening is happening. Put me inside of the mind of the wrestler. That's why I always liked ex-wrestlers as color commentators, more so than just broadcasters, because a former wrestler can, if they're good at it, can artfully tell you why Kenny is deciding to reach into his tights and pull out brass knucks, right? Not say, oh, Kenny's reaching his tights, pulling out brass knucks. He's a jackass. You know, he's a bad guy. No. Tell me why. Why is he desperate in that particular moment? Why did he wait till just now to pull out those brass knuckles? Why does he feel like he can't beat Eric Bischoff unless he uses brass knuckles? That's the art of painting a picture and telling a story. But if you give too much information to your play-by-play and your color commentator, they will start crafting a story before it happens. They don't even know they're doing it. As a result, I didn't tell anybody. They just called it. Now, that's an important note. Here's the next important note with regard to Bobby Heenan. If you go back and you watch any of the Hulk Hogan matches where Bobby Heenan was the color commentator in WCW, and probably even beforehand in WWE, Bobby Heenan always hated Hulk Hogan. He always characterized or put Hulk Hogan in the worst possible context. So Bobby didn't know that Hulk Hogan was going to drop that leg and turn heel. Bobby just assumed that Hulk Hogan was coming out to save the day, and Bobby Heenan was the heel announcer, so he's going to take the other side and doubt him and question him. It just so happened that this time he was right. The previous 7 or 8 years he had been doing it, it was just part of the game, part of the game. But now it just happened to be right because he didn't know. Had I told Bobby, be careful what you say here because Hulk Hogan's going to turn heel, he wouldn't have done it. Bobby was a pro's pro. He really, really was one of the best there'll ever be. There'll never be another Bobby Heenan, ever. But he didn't know. And that was because I didn't tell him.